Hey everyone, it's Jack here, Talk Norwich City. I hope you're all doing very well indeed, or at least trying to do well. Wasn't a particularly joyful Saturday, was it? Norwich City losing their opening championship game 1-0 to Cardiff in what was a fairly dire affair. We'll get onto that shortly. But a big thank you to One Football who are sponsoring today's video. It's the go-to app for all football fans. Download it, link in the description. I was on there actually just looking through the stats from yesterday's games. You can get all of the latest news, stats. It's the best way to follow your team and other teams, and also you can stream and watch certain games on there, which is brilliant. Norwich City had just one shot on target yesterday, and granted Cardiff's numbers of 2 weren't too much better. One of them did result in a goal. They only had 3 shots in total. We had 7. That's the real kind of damning statistic for Norwich City. Edged the possession, but in terms of creativity going forwards, it was really quite woeful. Expected goals of 0.34 for both teams. Now, where do we start? Norwich, I think, have failed to win in 20 of their last 21 opening games. So this probably doesn't come as a huge shock, although I must say I was confident going into the Cardiff game. Not really based off of any evidence, because the way that the Premier League campaign finished, we had no reason to be particularly optimistic. None of the new signings were playing in Isaac Hayden and Gabriel Sara. Both of those still injured. Sara's training but not up to match fitness. Isaac Hayden is still injured. So it was pretty much the same team as what we were playing in the Premier League, which some would argue is a good thing. Not too much turnover. Premier League quality players on paper against a Cardiff side who are probably aiming for somewhere around mid-table, maybe a bit lower than mid-table. Always promising to have your first game at home, and I think Cardiff were bouncing because of that, but still no excuses there. And I think when you start to dig into some of the issues, it does become a worry. Now, I will stick to my opinion that we've got one of the best defences in the league. I think Yanulis, Max Aarons, whether it's Gibson or Big Andy, and then Grant Hanley is solid, and then a choice of either Tim Krul or Angus Gunn in goal. I think that's good. And the fact that Cardiff failed to register a shot in our box, I think is promising. Now, the goal was soft, and I think Dean Smith said it should have been 0-0. I would probably agree with him there, but we lost the game, and that's simply not good enough on the opening day of the season. There will be anger, there will be frustration. I think there will be a lack of patience towards Dean Smith at this side, and I get that, because there is a lack of identity. But the biggest worry for me is Teemu Pukki simply not getting chances. He failed to register a single shot in the Cardiff game, which I think happened 4 times during the last championship campaign, and then back in 18-19 there wasn't a single game where he didn't not have a shot, and that's already happened on the opening game of this season. Big thanks to Michael Bailey's Athletic article for pointing that out. But I think it's clear, even if he had a shot, 2-3 shots, this side simply isn't creating chances in general, and also for Teemu Pukki. And in Teemu Pukki, you have one of the best strikers in this division, so you need to be servicing him. And the biggest worry is the fact that we've got £16 million worth, if not more, of wingers on the pitch starting yesterday, Emilio Rashica and Josh Sargent, who simply aren't good enough. Now, I'm willing to give them a chance at this level. I think Rashica showed bursts of being okay in the Premier League, but there was certainly no consistency, and his numbers were damning. Josh Sargent gives me more of a worry. He was so far off the pace in the Premier League, and I don't think he's going to cut it in the Championship either, which is a serious issue when you've spent £8 million on him. Now, would he start if he had been £2 million? I'm not so sure. I think Onel Hernandez came on and arguably did more than Josh Sargent managed in the kind of over half of football that he played. So that's a serious worry. The midfield, I'm willing to give time. I think It's frustrating that the two signings we've made are both injured, but we can't really make too much of a judgment on them until Sarah and Hayden come in. I suspect there'll be somewhat of a positive impact when they both start playing football. You would hope, anyway. Having said that, one of the big pleasing factors I thought was Todd Cantwell, who's showing signs of getting back to his best. Created the best opportunity for Norwich yesterday with a shot that may cause the Cardiff goalkeeper to make a really good save. But even so, I'm kind of scratching around for positives here. The other real frustration was our captain in Grant Hanley stupidly getting sent off. Now, Perry and G got sent off on 73 minutes, so you've still got 20 plus minutes of football up against 10 men. That's a fantastic opportunity, not only to get an equaliser, but go and win the game. Imagine the momentum shift if Norwich can turn that around from 1-0 down. And there's a good opportunity there. Cardiff were flustered. They're down to 10. And then literally 10 minutes after, Grant Hanley picks up a second bookable offence. Both really sloppy bookings. And that's the man that should be disciplined, that should be leading his troops. And it didn't happen. So that was incredibly disappointing. I think, look, I'm not concerned just yet. I think I'm complete empathy with those that are beginning to get frustrated with Dean Smith. I would agree that the complete lack of identity is a worry. I don't think it helps that we've gone from someone in Daniel Farker who had such a style and stuck to that style at all times, to someone in Dean Smith who I think is slightly more adaptable, is willing to change things up. But in terms of the football we're seeing at the moment, I would agree it's not particularly pleasing. But you still look at the team on paper, even after that Cardiff game, and go, we have enough quality to do really well this season. You only have to look at the likes of Luton, who I think will do well. Many people are expecting to do well. You look at the 2-11s on paper, there's worlds apart. Now, I'm not saying that is the be-all and end-all, because as we saw against Cardiff, we hardly even had an opportunity to score a goal, and we didn't score a goal, and that will be a concern. There's some very winnable games coming up. I think Wigan at home is big already. I think we need to put in a really convincing performance against the newly promoted side, score some goals, get the 3 points, and then you've got a foundation to build off. This isn't the end of the world losing to Cardiff. Norwich City often lose their opening game of the season, but the main concern for me is around creativity. Defensively, I think we'll be okay. I don't think we'll ship too many goals this season. It's the fact that we are consistently not creating chances for Timu Pukki, and that's a real worry, considering the talent that is supposedly in behind him that is continually not delivering. So there we go. I'd love to know your thoughts on the opening day. I hope those of you that travel to South Wales had an enjoyable day nonetheless. It's always good fun going there. And let's see, Wigan up next. I'm looking forward to it. I'm buzzing to be back to Carrow Road. I haven't been for what seems like a long, long while. So excited for that. And hopefully we will pick up 3 points. But I said that going into Cardiff. As always, a massive thanks for all of the support, and I'll see you all again next week for loads more content. Stay safe, everyone. Bye bye.